There are a lot of sports cars out there, a whole kaleidoscope of options that you can turn into a hobby as well as a lifestyle. But if you're after something truly affordable to buy and to live with, and that really lives up to the promise of sports car ownership, well, that gets a lot trickier. Unless you look to a certain little Mazda. That's right, it's the MX-5. First displayed in 1989, the Mazda MX-5 is aging better than ever. In that time, we've seen the dainty pop-up headlight Mark 1 morph into the wide-eyed Mark 2, the chunkier Mark 3, and the elegant, almost Italian-esque Mark 4. All of them major on lightweight, low power, affordability, and prophetic Japanese proverbs like the famous Jinba Itai, the oneness of horse and rider. Before we go any further, don't forget to give this video a like, hit subscribe and turn on notifications by ringing the little bell so you'll be notified when our new films go live. This is what the MX-5 is all about. Driving. Simple, pure, uncomplicated driving. I've got the 1.6 Mark 1 here, and I mean, it's only got 114 brake, which sounds like absolutely nothing, even by standards then, let alone today. And yet it feels like absolutely enough. It's so sweet to drive. And the MX-5 was never about pace and performance. It was always about being fun. There are a few things to note if you're considering an early MX-5. There are some out there without power steering, but don't be fooled into thinking that these will be even purer driving experiences. The MX-5 was built and designed to have power-assisted steering, and it's better for having it. Don't be afraid of the UNOS models either. These are the Japanese market versions, and a lot have been imported into the UK. They're virtually identical, other than that they may have less rust thanks to Japan's salt-free roads, so you can actually pay a premium for them. This precise car is a 1990, like I said, it's a 1.6 Mark 1, or NA as it's often called. So 114 brake, but it weighs less than a tonne. And they did do a 1.8 as well. That was introduced around about 1994. Even that only gets 126 brake. And not long after that, they actually neutered the 1.6 down to 100 brake. I haven't driven one of those, but I mean, that sounds a bit weedy even by MX-5 standards, so maybe avoid those. Even so, this car, it's a rainy, typically British day, it's a good road, and this car feels so perfect. It's the fact that you can use 100% of its performance. It just does everything you want it to do so succinctly. The gearbox is lovely, it just sort of snicks into the next gear, the engine revs sweetly. Suspension's a little bit soft, but do you know what? I don't mind that. I think it feels completely undramatic and it gives you plenty of grip, and I like the way the MX-5 seems to sort of cushion the road as you go down it. It means that it's easy to live with. That's so critical for the MX-5. That's why it's such a success. It's so much fun, but it's easy to live with. And it doesn't matter what generation of MX-5 you look at, that's what it has always excelled at. Simple, not too firm, naturally aspirated engine, not too much power, rear wheel drive. There are cars 3, 4, 5 times as expensive as this, and I would not be having half as much fun as I am now. It's wonderful. The second, third and fourth generation MX-5s all have distinct characters, with the most recent two models even offering versions with retractable hardtops. We particularly love the latest generation, which is not great for tall drivers, but otherwise is a spectacular breath of fresh air in a world of endless variable drive modes and fake exhaust notes, despite being easier than ever to live with. Even the Mark III, which has a reputation for being the least desirable of all the MX-5s, is reliable and about as much fun as you can have for the super cheap prices that you'll pay for a solid used example. They all stick to that ethos of joyously uncomplicated but easy to live with, two-seat, open-air fun that has made the MX-5 such a huge success. And I mean a huge success! The MX-5 has sold well over 1 million examples globally in the 30 years that it's been around. And a lot of people compare this to a modern Elan. Do you know how many Lotus Elans were sold? No, me neither. Not that many, I can tell you that much. In fact, ironically, even Lotus apparently don't know how many Elans were sold due to what is described as erratic bookkeeping. Well, I can tell you this, Mazda's bookkeeping is not erratic, and the MX-5 is better than an Elan. I will put that out there right now. Reliable, simple, affordable, ever classless, ever brilliant. I could talk for hours about what kind of MX-5 you could buy. I mean, there are so many different types. You can get aftermarket turbo conversions, there's ones with limited slip diffs, hard tops, you can even get ones with automatics, but I would say avoid those because having an automatic MX-5 is like buying a piece of art and buying a blindfold to ensure you don't enjoy it. Do check for rust on earlier examples, the Mk1 and Mk2 particularly, because they tend to rust from the inside out. So have a really good look under the wheel arches and under the sills to check for that. And other than that, really the MX-5 promises to be about as reliable as a car can be, sports car or not, and if they do go wrong, they're cheap to repair. Whichever MX-5 suits your budget and lifestyle, go for it, because this is the real joy of the MX-5. There isn't a bad one. Whichever MX-5 takes your fancy, you can find a huge variety of used examples for sale on CarGurus.co.uk, which is the place to go to find great deals from top-rated dealers. And while you're here, don't forget to subscribe and turn notifications on.